Hello everybody and welcome back to Random Vids. So obviously I missed last Sunday because I was just on a vacation and just came back. And if you didn't know, I was down at Disney World in Florida. So a video that I actually never did before was me really talking about Florida. Now what, 4 years ago when I went down to Florida back in 2021, I uploaded a few videos of me going on a few different rides here and there, but I mean, that's about it for that. So today I decided to talk a bit about some of the rides at Disney. So this past time that we went this year, we only went to Epcot and Magic Kingdom because we were trying a few other things out. Well, I decided for today to rank all the rides at the Disney parks that I have ridden on. So don't worry, it's not as much as you may think there is, because I've only ridden 2 rides at Animal Kingdom, not including shows. Then I've only ridden 4 at Hollywood Studios. So, yeah, I haven't ridden too much at those 2 parks. I have ridden almost every ride at Epcot, and Magic Kingdom is about a 50-50, I'd say. Probably a little over, I would say I'd be able to ride. So I figured because now I got to re-ride everything that I wanted to do, at least from Epcot and Magic Kingdom here in 2025, and in case if there is a brand new ride that I haven't rid before, then, you know, I could kind of... Because this is a list that I was thinking about for a while, but I wanted to make it after I made my trip to Disney. So I feel like the only rules is it can't be too far in the past that I just don't remember. Because there is certain rides that I rode as a really, really young kid, but obviously I don't remember, so that's no fair to those rides. So no, those rides aren't going on the list. I would say about 10 years and up, because I went in 2013, and then we skipped a bunch and went in 2019. So, but I think every ride that I rode back in 2013, minus one of the rides at Hollywood Studios, which isn't there anymore, I basically ridden 2019 and up. So, yeah, I've been to the parks a lot. About every other year is when we usually go down. So, and for the most part, most of the rides that we do ride on are tons of fun. However, there is a few that just aren't that fun to ride on, or just have meh stories. They don't give you much to do, or it's just a plain ride compared to some of the others. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to rank all the rides down at Disney World in Florida, the ones that I have ridden on at least. So there isn't going to be every single ride here, so bear with me. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And let's get to my absolute least favorite ride that I ride on, which we have 24 today. So, number 24 is easily It's a Small World. Yeah. I mean, what need I say about this ride? Well, for starters, it's a very long boat ride. You're sitting in a boat for probably about 11 minutes, just going through one of the most annoying songs at the Disney parks, where all these little animatronic figurines sing the song It's a Small World. I'm not going to go into the song, just because we know how annoying it is. I guess we should start about the positives. I mean, I guess if you're looking for a long ride, then here you go. If you're looking at one that has a whole bunch of animatronic figures in it, here you go. Or if you're looking for a boat ride, here you go, I guess. Or I guess if there's simply no other better ride out there, which is a total lie, because there's so many better rides at Magic Kingdom. It's a Small World has never been my favorite ride, and it still to this day is my least favorite ride that I ride on at the Magic Kingdom, as well as just all the Disney parks in general. That song, ugh. I mean, the message it's giving is good. It's just that, why did they have to choose such a, I don't know, annoying song? But this is also a ride that's been here forever now, so it's been played to death. So I guess it does kind of make sense in a way. But, Jeeves, that song is just so annoying. And I'm all for, you know, theme songs and Disney rides. And, I mean, I guess it's fine that this ride has a theme song, but it's easily the worst theme song out of any of the rides that has theme songs. It's just so annoying, and you hear it for all 11 minutes. Yeah, this ride is no fun, and it's easily the worst ride at the Disney parks, in my opinion, that I have ridden on, just for how annoying that song is. but and just for how long the ride is in general, it's not really that fun of an experience, especially after I've ridden it so many times. So the last time I've ridden this ride was when we went down this last time, so in 2025. Number 23, Na'vi River Journey. I've only been to Animal Kingdom twice in my life, and I think there's a good reason why. So the first time I went was when I was really young, and then I went back in 2021, just to kind of, see what it's like, because it's been 15 years since then that I've been to the park. Well, 2021 was the last time that I've ever been to Animal Kingdom, which means I have only ridden this ride one time, back in 2021, and that was the most recent time. And I mean, it's about what you expect. It's just a boat ride through Na'vi River Journey. I mean, the title speaks for itself. And once again, like Small World, it's just a boat ride. It's nothing too crazy. You're not whipping all over the place. And that's not for me to say that the boring boat rides aren't my favorite or are bad, because there is some boat rides that are further up on the list that I do really like. But for starters, I mean, I'm not really a big fan of the Pandora movies to begin with. I haven't even seen them back in 2021, but it wasn't until, like, I'd say 2022, I think I actually ended up watching the first movie plus the second one because it just came out in the theater. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Avatar. They're not my favorite movies by far. Some of the weaker Disney movies, in my opinion. So yeah, we got a whole boat ride dedicated to that movie. Once again, nothing wrong with the ride itself. It's just boring. Way, way too boring. In fact, this would almost be worse than Small World if it wasn't for the music. So thank God this ride has no music in it. That just gets super annoying. There's a little bit of a song at the end, but I don't know. I've only ridden this ride one time ever, so I don't really remember it too much. That was 4 years ago. And yeah, it's a boring boat ride that I don't mind skipping. But I guess if you go to Animal Kingdom, I don't mind riding it, because Animal Kingdom easily is the worst park of the four. Number 22, The Living Seas with Nemo and Friends. Alright, so we're getting into the IP attractions. Well, I guess Na'vi River Journey was an IP attraction, but I mean the cartoon animated Disney or Pixar movies. And the first ride from Epcot that we are talking about is The Seas with Nemo and Friends. Nemo, the movie itself, is a really great movie. Great characters, great story. It's wonderful. Well, guess what? There's a ride about Nemo in Epcot. Well, I mean, it's a ride, that's for sure. But a ride for someone who's at age 21 like me? Not so sure about this. So, The Living Seas with Nemo and Friends is an Omni-Mover ride where you sit in these clown shell carts. It's kind of the same carts you find at the Ariel's Undersea Adventure at Magic Kingdom. The only difference is that this ride, for starters, has basically no animatronics, and a lot of it is very screen-based. And the story itself, I mean, it follows the story of Nemo fine enough. It's just very, very boring, and it's easily my least favorite ride at the Disney parks. Did I say at the Disney parks? I mean, but at Epcot. Well, okay, there's a few that definitely come in close second, but yeah, this is easily the worst, I would say. I haven't ridden this ride since 2019, so it has been a decent time, so I almost was kind of considering riding it again this year, just because of the fact that, it has been a decent time. It's been 6 years, but once you ride it, it's not really much worth it. Basically, if you want something to kill time, then here you go, but mainly that's just for the aquarium afterwards. I'd say the best parts of the ride is, besides the aquarium, is just the theme of the ride itself. I love Finding Nemo. It's such a nostalgic movie to me, but the way they set up this ride is just very I think it could have been much better, but oh well. Number 22, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. So here we have our first ride at Hollywood Studios, and I just realized we talked about one ride for each park so far. I've only ridden 4 rides at Hollywood Studios because they changed so much. Well, I guess I've ridden 5, but I've ridden more, but all the rides that I've ridden back then aren't here anymore. So I'm going to say this, I'm not a big fan of the simulation type of rides. You're basically just sitting and staying in one spot with just a few things changing around you. So expect some of these simulation rides, at least that I have ridden on, to be kind of lower on the list, because of the fact I'm not the biggest fans of them. And Star Wars, I mean, I like the Star Wars movies. Well, the older ones more than the newer ones. So, yeah, I don't know what Disney was thinking when they made Star Wars Land basically be themed to the newer movies opposed to like the old ones that everyone loved, but that's okay. I mean, the one ride that they built was obviously very amazing and just wonderful, while the other one was just mid. That's the thing. There's nothing necessarily wrong with the ride, and I was almost actually going to put it below the Living Seas and Nemo and Friends, just because the fact that at least I love the Nemo and Friends movie and stuff. And while it is a simple ride, it's still, you know, something, I guess. But then I figured, well, at least for this ride, you're actually doing a little more. You're not just sitting in one spot going through a bunch of screens. And something I forgot to mention about ride is that song that they sing at the end is so annoying. The, I forget what it's called. Big Blue World or something like that. Yeah, it's up there with Small World as just annoying, like, yeah, I don't like that song, especially since it's not even a song in the movie. So, I don't know. Well, for this ride, it's nothing too crazy. You're just flying the Millennium Falcon. Now, the last time I rode this ride was when I went to Disney in 2023. So I have been going every other year since 2019. So we did manage to ride it in 2023, and it's just not one of my favorite rides. And well, I should say it's easily my least favorite out of the Hollywood Studio rides that I've ridden on, just because the other three that I've ridden on are known as some of the best rides there, but this one is just very mid. So, yeah, nothing else I gotta say. It's a simulation ride. It focuses on the newer Star Wars movies, and there you go. That's about it. Number 20, Kilimanjaro Safaris. And with that, we already have both of the Animal Kingdom rides out of the way. Yeah, I don't kid when I say Animal Kingdom is easily, without a doubt, the absolute worst park at Disney World. It's literally just a zoo. You can go to a zoo anywhere. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Animal Kingdom, and I never will be. So, I did ride Kilimanjaro Safaris, though, when we went in our trip back in 2021. So, there's that. I believe I probably posted a video. Yeah, I did post a video of it on my channel. And, I mean, I guess it is cool going out and seeing the animals and stuff. But there's another ride that's going to be later on the list where you kind of do the same thing, but you're in a boat where you get to kind of see some animals as well. Well, they're not real animals, so it isn't the same. It's more animatronics. But hands down, that ride is still a lot better than this ride. It's just like you're in a Jeep tour going through and seeing animals. How does this feel like Disney? It doesn't, honestly. It just feels like a typical zoo park. And I didn't go 14 hours from PA all the way to Florida just to see another zoo. Although apparently I did back in 2021, but I didn't mind revisiting that park again after, 15 years? I guess? I don't know. So yeah, this is easily the worst park of the four parks. And it doesn't give you much to do either. I know the new Zootopia, Better Zoogather, just opened up Friday. It opened up when we were down there. But obviously we didn't go because we just went 4 years prior, so there's no point of going back again. It'll be probably another 15 years till we go back down to Animal Kingdom. It's just such a bland park. It gives you basically nothing to do, yet it's the biggest park of them all. But a lot of that has to do with basically just this ride in general. A lot of it is just it's just a big zoo. So to me, it's just like, it's not really that interesting to me. We only rode 2 rides when we were there. I mean, I could have done Expedition Everest, but I chose not to. I disagree with myself. I should have done it. We should have done Dinosaur as well, because that ride's going to be leaving. So yeah, I don't think we made the best of our time when we were down there either. We were all just kind of miserable and just wanting to go home, just because of the fact that there's nothing to do. And it's funny because the next day we went to Magic Kingdom and we were there till closing. So yeah, there's a big difference in parks. Even if Animal Kingdom does have a few neat things here and there, it is hands down the worst park of the 4. Easily. There's not even a competition when it comes to the worst park. And this ride, I mean, it is better than Navi River Journey, but it's still boring compared to all the other rides, so yeah. Number 19, Spaceship Earth. Yeah, this one's probably going to get a lot of controversial, depending on how many views this video gets, because this is a well-loved attraction at Epcot, well, for the most part. And I will say, it is really cool that, you know, the big Epcot ball has a ride stored in it. But when you ride the ride, especially when comparing it to a lot of the other rides in Epcot, it's just kind of, once again, like a lot of these other rides that I put lower on this list, boring. And I don't think it's necessarily the ride's fault. It is neat seeing kind of like the ride kind of takes you through like different time periods and goes through history, because that's what a big theme of Epcot back in the day was. Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems with this ride, I think, is that this ride is in dire need of a renovation, and they were going to give it a renovation back in 2020, but obviously COVID, canceled all those plans, which is a shame because this ride is in desperate need of a renovation. Anytime you ride the ride, it just has that, like, anytime you ride rides, I think, at Disney parks, you can tell when they're old and they need outdated. They have like a weird smell to them. I don't know what it is, but it's just like a ride that, doesn't get much love or care. I mean, a lot of the animatronics are kind of tired looking as well. The whole scenery and stuff is kind of looking very 80s, which it is, because this ride basically is pretty much unchanged from how it looked from the 80s. Obviously, it's not completely the same, but I think this ride could definitely need a refurbishment for sure. Because as it stands today, I mean, it's neat and all, it's just so boring. And, I mean, we've ridden it basically almost every single time we were there, too, just because it's a ride that kills time. I mean, if it was up to me, I would gladly wait another 90 minutes in line for Test Track again, opposed to this ride, which usually has, like, no wait at all whatsoever. And this ride used to be one of those rides that used to have a long line as well, but I think a lot of people are, in a way, kind of agree with me, because it is a really historic, ride in a way, and obviously it belongs at the park, but I think a lot of people also kind of agree that it is getting kind of tired looking, and I think it could use a nice refurbishment in a way. And the ride is always very bumpy too whenever we ride on it. It's very slow, and I guess it is a little more interesting than the other rides I talked about so far, and it is neat doing the create your own future thing, but after you've done it for a decent amount of times, it's just the same thing. It's kind of boring. So I wish they do update this ride, because it desperately needs it. But I guess it's a fine ride, but it's definitely one of the weaker ones compared to a lot of the other Epcot rides. Speaking of which, we didn't even ride it this past time. So the last time I rode this ride was back in 2023. Number 18, the Walt Disney World Railroad. Oh boy, we're getting to the part of the list where the rides are starting to become more fun now, and I think the train basically starts it off. Now, unfortunately, this past time that we went, it was running in shuttle mode due to Tom Sawyer Island being completely shut down due to them completely tearing out Tom Sawyer Island for the new Piston Peak and Villains Land. Yes, I'm a big fan of Disney, and I do know all the different updates, so I do kind of know like all the different updates that they're adding to these rides and stuff. So the train was still running, but only in shuttle mode from the Tomorrowland station or Fantasyland station to Main Street station, which I don't know why it's not running in the Frontier station as well, because it's not really getting under construction there. It's just further out. But okay, maybe it's just harder to run it in shuttle mode from two stations. I don't know. The train is a fun ride. You get to go all the way around Magic Kingdom, and you get to go through the neat Tron Tunnel, as well as, of course, at the time, Splash Mountain, now Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So it's really neat, and I like that it does that. Now, we did only spend one day at Magic Kingdom this past time, so we didn't get to ride the train. So the last time we got to ride the train was back in 2023, which was honestly better just because of the fact that the train was actually running all the way through. And of course, the other two times we went, it was completely closed. So, yeah. Pretty good ride overall, but there's obviously better ones. Number 17, Soarin'. So here we have another one of those, these type of rides. I forget what they're called here for a sec, but you know what I'm talking about. The screen-based type of rides. You're not really moving around too much. So it does kind of feel like Millennium Falcon, but I will say this ride is better than Millennium Falcon. Not only have I ridden it more, and it's definitely a lot uniquer, but it's just more interesting in general. But it's still one of those screen-based rides, and they're not really some of my favorite rides. But I guess it is cool soaring around the world, or California, whatever version you're getting at the time. The last time we rode this ride was back in 2023, so we did get to ride it then, because previously we haven't ridden it since 2013, so it was neat riding it again, and it was the California version too, because it was during the 100th anniversary back in 2023, so they brought back California version for a little bit, so we rode it then. We didn't ride it this past time due to time's sake, although we could have ridden it, but we just chose not to. And, I mean, you're not really missing much. It's the same show you see over and over again. I mean, you can argue that for every ride, it's going to be the same thing over and over again unless they change something about it. But there's just other rides that are way worth the wait than this ride. To me, the 40 to 50 minute wait just half the time isn't worth it, just because you're not really doing much. You're just kind of sitting there in a chair, somewhat flying around to just a movie. It could almost be a show. It doesn't even have to be a ride. And I would almost put this worse as the train, but I guess it's like a tie with the train, I would say. The train could potentially be better, but I don't know. Both of them are about a tie, but yeah, Soarin', it's just an okay ride overall. Number 16, Peter Pan's Flight at Magic Kingdom. So, here we finally have a Magic Kingdom ride after a while. Well, I guess we talked about the train, but I mean an actual ride. And speaking of lines that are just silly long for no apparent reason, well, here's another one. I will never understand why Peter Pan's Flight has such a long wait. I guess it is kind of neat that you are soaring above the show scenes in this attraction, which that is really neat. But at the same time, is it really that cool? I mean, this ride has basically been unchanged since it opened back in 1971, and it's another ride that could definitely need an update, because I think it's definitely way past overdue for an update. So it'd be nice to see an update to this ride, but I guess as it stands right now, it is in a way a fun ride, but is it always worth that 60-minute wait time? I mean, it's basically just the story of Peter Pan, and that's about it. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time, but I guess the way the ride makes it work, it is neat and all, and the way that you are above the ground definitely gives it a big point. And there is some neat moments in this ride, but man, this is the ride that has the 60-minute wait? I don't know about that. It's a good ride, but one of the best of all time? Nah, definitely not. We did ride this when we went in 2025, so I did recently ride it, so there's that. Nothing else I really got to say about it. It's a fine enough ride, but definitely not the best. Number 15, Journey of the Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure. So, we're staying at Magic Kingdom, and this one is a pretty interesting ride, I should say. It's probably one of the most mid-ride. Well, I would say it's a little above average. Remember how we were talking about the Seas with Nemo and Friends earlier? Well, this has the same ride concept. It's an omni-mover where you're sitting in basically the same exact cars. The only difference is that this ride is actually much better. You're not just seeing a bunch of fish go by over and over again, or just, screens just being shown. Now we're actually shown some animatronics, which definitely adds a lot more life into the Omni-Mover ride. The Omni-Mover rides are very interesting because they keep going and they can still load a bunch of people on all at once. Every time we go down to the Disney parks, especially I would say probably like Epcot and Magic Kingdom, we always tend to ride a brand new ride. And when we went back in 2023, this was that brand new ride. Well, there was another one that we'll talk about later that was also a brand new ride, but this one was a brand new ride that all four of us rode on, and we all really liked it. And it is a good ride, which never really usually has a big wait. And Little Mermaid is a really good movie too, with some great music. So I usually like to base the rides off of the music as well. So, because if you do something like Small World where the song is really annoying, then it's not really that fun to ride. Well, luckily, you're not just listening to one song over and over again. In fact, basically all the songs from Little Mermaid do get to play, except for the very, very beginning one, the Daughters of Triton or something like that. But all the other ones do get to play. And, I mean, they're all really good, for the most part, pretty good songs too. So, it's an overall pretty good attraction. Once again, though, like some of these ones lower on the list, it is more of a slower ride. So there's not really too many exciting things about it, but I guess it is a neat ride overall. I would give it the edge to Peter Pan due to it being a newer attraction, more animatronics, just having much more of a lively scene, and the fact that the wait time's usually much better, and the ride itself is a little longer too. We did manage to ride this when we went just recently here in 2025 as well, so yeah, pretty good ride. Number 14, Grand Fiesta Tour. Here we are again, Epcot. Obviously, most of the rides that we were talking about will be from Epcot and Magic Kingdom, because not only are they the two best parks, but they are the two that we go to the most, and have the most rides, too. So, of course, they're the rides that we rent on the most. And like I said, I've basically rent on almost every single Epcot ride, too. So, I mean, there isn't too many to experience, but the ones that are there, for the most part, are pretty fun. So, Grand Fiesta Tour stars the three Caballeros. Donald, of course, Panchito, and Jose. And definitely an interesting group that I didn't even know that was an IP movie at the time when I was younger. But obviously, Three Caballeros is a very old movie. But in a way, it does work for this pavilion. Something that's always nice is that I love Mexico down at Epcot. And the pyramid itself is such a neat area between the restaurant and the shops, and the fact that this ride is hidden just kind of in the back of everything. It feels very secluded and almost kind of like a little secret ride in a way that I almost feel like half the people that go to Epcot don't even know this ride even exists, just because it is such a neat little ride hidden in the corner. And there's never a wait time either, just because of the fact that, for starters, there isn't Lightning Lane, which, good choice on Disney. This ride does not need Lightning Lane, nor does it never need Lightning Lane. It's basically a walk-on most of the times. And the ride itself, I mean, the biggest problem with this ride is that it's just too short. It's way too short. But other than that, it is a pretty fun boat ride. It's definitely better than the other boat rides I talked about, where Small World was too long and Navi River Journey was way too boring. At least this ride, even if it's an IP ride, it fits in perfectly, I think. And, it's a fun ride overall. It's just the fact that, once again, it's too short. But that's okay, you can just hop right back on the ride because there's never a line for this ride. It's a good ride overall. It's not my favorite from Epcot, but it's a good little ride to ride every once in a while. Luckily, we did get to ride this when we just went here in 2025, just a few days ago prior, actually, which is kind of funny, that I did ride this ride. Unfortunately, when we went in 2023, the ride was closed. So, luckily it was open this time and we got to ride it again. Number 13, Living with the Land. So, it looks like we're going to stay at Epcot here for a minute because we're reaching another boat ride now, Living with the Land. So, this ride and Grand Fiesta Tour honestly can be interchangeable, but I think the main reason why I like the energy a little better in Grand Fiesta Tour, but the main reason why this ride is better, in my opinion, is, say it with me, the length. The Grand Fiesta Tour is over before it even begins, I feel like, whereas this ride is a much more better paced ride where the boats move about the same pace. But, I mean, the story to this ride isn't anything too crazy. It's just basically talking about different little... I don't know, it's kind of a hard one to talk about in a way. But if you rode the ride, you know what I'm talking about. It's living with the land. It's literally what the title says. And give me this any day over Navi River Journey. Even if that's a newer attraction and does have better lighting and stuff, this ride is hands down miles better than Navi River Journey. It's not just some silly IP-based attraction that's focused on a movie that I don't even like. This is just a neat, fun little ride. And I like the part where you go through the greenhouse, too. And obviously the iconic Living of the Land music that plays at the very end. It's such a catchy song. And it's great. The last time we rode this a few days ago in 2025 when we were down here at Epcot. And strangely, like, the music wasn't working that well. So unfortunately we didn't get to hear that catchy song at the end, but that's okay. It's still a great attraction at Epcot. Number 12, the Jungle Cruise. You see, this is Kilimanjaro Safaris, but actually really fun. So, we're getting to the rides that I really like now. Well, that are, like, definitely above average rides. Well, I guess we started that earlier on, but we're starting to get to the rides that I definitely enjoy a lot. And start that off with Jungle Cruise. And while it is kind of similar to Kilimanjaro Safaris in a way, Sort of. This ride is just hands down a million times better than that ride. Not only is it a better paced attraction, but of course you have the skippers, which tell their jokes, which can go from silly to just okay. But I do like the skippers. I think they make the Jungle Cruise, and they make it their own experience. Every time you go on the Jungle Cruise, it isn't going to be the same experience as the last one, and I think the skippers do make this ride, tons of fun. When we went here in 2025, this was the first ride that we rode on, Disney standards. We went to Universal, and then we went to Magic Kingdom, and this was the first ride we rode, and that was just really great, and I was just really excited to finally ride a Disney ride after 2 years. So it was fun riding Jungle Cruise again. Well, sorry, it was Jingle Cruise when we went down, which they kind of give it a holiday overlay in November and December, which is nice to see Disney do that to their rides. And it can just add some more puns for the skippers. So, between all the neat scenery you see, to just the goofiness of the Jungle Cruise itself, to the skippers, this is definitely a really great ride. If you want to wait in that line, that is. But, there's a reason why some of these rides have long lines. I'd take this over Peter Pan any day. Number 11, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. So, it's been a minute since I rode this ride, since unfortunately we didn't get to go to Hollywood Studios this past year. So the last time I've ridden this ride was back in 2023. And I was really close to putting this on top 10, and it was between this and another ride, but I just couldn't help it. The other ride I just enjoyed a little more. And the more I think about this ride, I do really like this ride, but I just think, well, it is just a Mickey and Minnie IP ride, where the other one is more unique. Well, don't get me wrong, this ride is definitely unique as well, and it's a really fun, trackless ride as well. And it's definitely better than the Millennium Falcon, which is just your typical screen-based ride, or whatever you want to call it. And it's interesting seeing how Mickey and Minnie have never had a ride until this point. And I will say it is a really great ride. A lot of people say the Disneyland version is better, but obviously I've never been to Disneyland before, so I don't know how that ride is. But I also love how you see basically all your main Mickey characters in this film as well. There's so many of them, and there's a whole bunch of different Easter eggs in this ride too. So while it is a really great ride, it doesn't quite make top 10, but I just think there's 10 more rides that I like a little better than this one. Speaking of which, let's get started with top 10. Number 10, Journey into Imagination with Figment. I couldn't help it. Is this the ride that replaced, at the time, people's favorite attraction at Epcot? Yes. Does this ride need a desperate redesign? Yes. But does that matter? Do I still like this ride? I still love this ride. I don't care. It's the only version of the ride I've ever ridden on either. Now, originally on the list, this was going to be number 11, and Mickey and Minnie was going to be 10. But when I think about it, this ride does have more originality than Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And I do like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway a lot. But I just think there's more oomph into this ride. It's more original, it's more unique in a way. Plus, it stars a character who isn't even an IP character either. Figment, who is just a lovable, great purple dragon who's basically the icon of Epcot at this point. And who doesn't love Figment? Even the people who despise this ride and think that it should never have replaced the very original version of the ride, you gotta admit, it's still a creative ride and fun. Does this ride need an update? Yeah, I do think this ride is kind of getting a little tired looking. But at the same time, it's still a great ride overall. I think this ride is a little overhated in my opinion, and it never usually has a line either. So, and this was an attempt to fix the Journey into Your Imagination ride that was created back in 1999, which that was a ride that people hated even more than this ride. So, when it comes to this ride, I kind of more think of the positives of this ride type of thing, instead of just thinking, ugh, it should have been the original that stayed around. Which, I've never ridden the original, so I can't say any negative or positive things about the ride, because I've never ridden it. But I can talk about this ride, and I do really like it. Yeah, it needs an update, but we all know that at this point. So let's at least enjoy this ride while it's still here, and while it's still a really unique ride that stars definitely one of the best non-IP characters of all time. He's Figment. He's just a great character. And you gotta love the Imagination song, too. It's one of those songs like Small World that gets stuck in your head, but in a good way. It's not annoying. And the song is kind of catchy, too. Well, I guess Small World is catchy, too. Just catchy for a reason, just not just a song I don't like, basically, where this song is the complete opposite. But yeah, it's a fun ride for sure that stars Figment. Who doesn't love Figment? Heck, I liked this ride so much that I built this ride in Minecraft. This and Living with the Land, actually, which is kind of funny. So yeah, a great ride overall, and definitely one of my favorites. Number 9, Pirates of the Caribbean. Ever since 2019, it's been a thing to ride this ride every time we go down. In fact, we like it so much we ride it twice. And I will say it's definitely a really great ride, and probably my favorite ride in Adventureland at Magic Kingdom. It's just such a unique ride, and I love the build-up to the ride, too. The queue space with the iconic A Pirate's Life for Me song playing in the background is obviously really fun to listen to. And just everything around the scenery is just so fun as well. Now, this is my family's one of their favorite rides. And while I do think it is a fun ride, it's still not in top 5 or just one of my absolute favorites. And I do think there's a few minor problems about the ride. Number 1, I think the biggest thing about this problem about this ride is the fact that it just feels too short. There's many parts of the ride that just feel very rushed, or, you know, it's just one of those rides that's just over before it even begins. So I wish it was a little bit longer. And I think it's another one of these rides that could definitely need a bit of a refurbishment. You can tell this ride opened almost 50 years ago now. So I think it has been 50 years. In 2023 maybe? I don't know, but I mean, it didn't open with the park, it opened a few years after, but it's definitely a ride, again, that kind of needs a bit of an update. And minus the big drop at the beginning, there isn't too many exciting moments of the ride either. And I've ridden it so many times that it does kind of get a little repetitive to me. But it's still a fun ride overall. It definitely is a top 10 ride for sure. I just think there's 8 other rides that I enjoy better. Plus, you gotta love the smell of that water too. Something about the smell of the boat rides at Disney World just makes you, I don't know. It's just like you're in Disney and you're riding a Disney boat ride. What else need I say? It's a great ride overall. Number 8, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. So here we are back at Epcot again. It's been a minute, but we're back. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is one of the newer rides at Disney, and it opened in 2021. Well, it could have opened earlier, but Disney chose to wait till the 50th anniversary because they didn't have the other 50th anniversary rides ready, so they had this one ready. So we had to wait a bit, but it opened, unfortunately with the virtual queue, so we couldn't ride it in 2021, but we did ride it for the first time in 2023, and I remember liking it a lot. So we just recently rode it again in 2025, and once again, it's a really fun ride. It's another trackless ride, and it basically is a carbon copy of the ride down in Paris. But this ride ended up going into the World Showcase at France. Perfect, because I think World Showcase definitely could use some more rides. Heck, there was a planned ride in Germany that they never built. And you could tell exactly where it was going to be, too. It's in the big building in the back. It has like a little, I don't know, it's hard to describe. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean. Well, anyway, the ride itself is a good ride. I think, once again, the biggest problem with the ride is that it's just too short. And because this is a newer ride, it does tend to get a longer line. But it is neat seeing the perspective of being shrunk down to a rat and basically just, you know, riding the ride. I managed to get in the very front whenever I was in this ride as well. There was a few rides that I managed to get in the very front of when I went this past time, which I thought was really neat and really fun. Now, this ride is a 3D ride, which it is going to be converted into a 2D ride here, actually, in a few days, now that I think about it. I think it's going to be shutting down, and it's going to be turning into a 2D ride, which I think is nice in a way, just because, you know, I'd rather it be a 2D ride. I don't care either or, but I guess it is nice seeing it transform into a 2D ride in a way. Now, this ride does heavily revolve on screens, but unlike the Seas with Nemo and Friends, this actually works really well because it is a trackless ride. And the story itself is really neat too. It doesn't just strictly follow the movie. It's kind of different. It takes its own spin in a way too. And it's just overall a great movie. I love the movie, obviously, of Ratatouille, and it's just a fun little ride down in Epcot. Now, the lines can usually get pretty big, but I would wait any day in this line over something like Soarin' or Peter Pan. Well, I'll take those rides too, but this ride is just way better in comparison. Number 7, Slinky Dog Dash. So here we have another Hollywood Studios attraction that I've ridden on, and man, this one is tons of fun. I remember liking it a lot. From the first time I rode it back in 2021, I just had a big smile on my face. I'm not the type of person who loves the roller coaster rides with loops and stuff like that, but I'll take more of a family version of a coaster ride, especially one that's nice and smooth. And it's themed around Toy Story, which is a very obviously iconic Disney franchise. And the theme of it being Slinky just works great. And I love Slinky. He's a great character of Toy Story. Probably my favorite character from Toy Story, actually. Just because, you know, he's a doggy. Who doesn't love doggies? Well, anyway, this ride is just basically a simple roller coaster. And yes, the line always gets extremely long, which is easily the worst thing about the ride, and the fact that it's too short. But I still don't care. It's still a fun ride. I don't care. I'd wait in a long line for this ride just because I really enjoy it. And it's just fun thematically as well. So while it may be too short, I still really like the ride, and it's definitely top 10 for sure. Number 6, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So here's another ride that I rode for the first time back in 2023, and once again, I really enjoyed it. After riding Slinky Dog Dash back in 2021 for the first time, it was fun riding this one, because does kind of feel like Slinky Dog in a way where it is on the shorter side, and it is more of a family one. And it does kind of feel like Big Thunder Mountain in a way, too. However, I have, spoiler alert, never ridden Big Thunder Mountain. Maybe it's one I'll get to in the future, since they are currently updating it. But Seven Dwarfs Mine Train's a really fun ride. Or I should say, coaster. And I like the scene where it takes you inside the cave, and you get to see all the dwarfs mining. And then, of course, they sing the iconic Hi-Ho song from, you know, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I mean, hey, why not? Not only is this a, you know, roller coaster, but it's basically an attraction in itself. And I think it is a little bit longer than Slinky Dog as well, due to that inside section itself. And I always love the scene. I always love the part after the inside where you plummet down the hill. It's just so much fun. So, in a way, this or Slinky could be interchangeable, because once again, the same problems apply, where the line can tend to get a little bit long, and the ride is a little bit on the shorter side, but I don't care. It's still such a fun ride at Magic Kingdom, and definitely one of my favorite rides. And almost cracks top 5, but not quite. Number 5, Frozen Ever After. Oh, here we are again, Epcot. It's been a minute, but we are back. And we're back with definitely one of my favorite boat rides of all the Disney parks, being Frozen Ever After. So this ride opened in 2016, replacing the then ride there, Maelstrom, which at that point, that ride just became a ride to kind of get people out of the heat. It was just an okay ride overall, and Maelstrom would have easily been on the lower half of the list. But Frozen Ever After? No. I really like Frozen Ever After, and this is one of those cases that I don't mind an IP attraction taking over an original attraction. I mean, who here would rather Maelstrom be still here? I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but it definitely wasn't, you know, as popular as it once was. And I do like Frozen Ever After a lot more than Maelstrom, I think. There's only one problem with this ride, besides the fact that it's always one of those longer rides. I mean, there's a reason why some of these rides do have longer waits. I mean, it is just a really great ride. But that one lift hill at the very beginning is always so bumpy. I don't know why, but it's so bumpy. I don't know why they didn't replace it from Maelstrom, but okay. Now, this is a newer Disney ride, too, so it does get the updated technology opposed to some of these older rides. But, I mean, newer isn't always better. But it's just your typical Frozen ride. Who doesn't like Frozen? And who doesn't love the characters from Frozen 2? It's basically just, the story is basically just the movie of the first Frozen movie. So, that's cool and all, and I do love the different scenes they have and stuff. And I do love that they still kept basically the same track layout as the original ride, as well. Because you still get to go backwards as well as go down that little lift hill or go down that little hill at the end too. I obviously love a little bit of thrill in the attraction as well, not just it being a boring small world boat ride. And like The Little Mermaid, this ride uses basically all the songs in the movie as well, which is really great. Yes, including the ironic Let It Go song. Definitely still one of the worst Disney songs of all time. But unlike Small World, it's just a quick, like, 30-second section. It's not the whole ride. And it isn't going to be the last song on the ride either, so that's nice. Overall, this is a great ride for sure, and definitely one of my favorite rides at Epcot. Number 4, Test Track. Oh man, it was so much fun being able to experience this brand new version of Test Track. If you didn't know, Test Track just recently got updated from the 2.0 version, which is basically just the Tron version of Test Track, into the now 3.0 version. And man, this ride, if it wasn't fun already with the 2.0 version, it's even more fun now with the 3.0 version, mainly due to the story itself. And the fact that it isn't just a Tron replica as well. I mean, they have Tron at Magic Kingdom now, so why use this fun ride as a Tron clone? I don't know. A lot of people like the 1.0 version. Unfortunately, I never got to ride the 1.0 version. I did ride the 2.0 3 times, 2019, 2021, and 2023, and luckily I got to experience this brand new version in 2025. And it's probably, in my opinion, my favorite ride at Epcot. And although Frozen is close, but I think just the outside portion of this ride itself is what makes this ride my favorite ride at Epcot. It's just too much fun. I love this ride a lot. And I love the different changes that they added to this ride. And all the changes make sense. It finally just doesn't feel blue the whole time. I love the little house you drive through and then the little forest section. It's just such a great ride overall. Nothing else I really gotta say. But in my opinion, it's my favorite ride from Epcot. Number 3, Rise of the Resistance. I know this isn't number 1 in my opinion, but I do think it is a great ride, and in my opinion, it is my favorite ride from Hollywood Studios. Although I do really love Slinky Dog Dash a lot, I figured both lines are usually about the same weight. Slinky a little shorter, but both lines are always very long. But it does make sense. There's a reason why those lines are always extremely long compared to some of the others. And that's because, is it worth the wait, really? And both of those rides really are. The only difference is the reason why this ride is a little better than that ride. It's just the fact that it's a much more longer ride. It's almost more of an experience in a way. It's just like the last half of it is a ride, actually. But man, it's just such a great ride overall. It's just such a, I don't even know how you want to call it, but everything about this ride is just so great. You can tell they really, tried to put a lot into this ride, even if it is focused on the newer version, which once again, I'd rather be the old version of Star Wars, but that's okay. This ride makes up for that, because not only is it just a fun experience, but just everything about this ride in general is just screams Star Wars, whether if you're a fan of the older version or the newer versions. So whether you are or aren't, it's still a great ride overall, and just so technically advanced, and it's just so great. And it's definitely one of my favorite rides of all time, and definitely one of the best rides at Disney World. Number 2, the People Mover. Man, I really wanted to put this ride at number 1. I love this ride so much. It's so unique, and this is basically the only People Mover ever in any amusement park. And this ride is just, so unique, and I love it. But I just think there's one ride that I enjoy just a tiny, tiny bit more than this ride. And that's saying a lot, because I really, and I mean really, do love this ride a lot. So, People Mover. There's only one version now, unfortunately, because they haven't had one at Disneyland since, 1995? Good lord, that's just incredible. Incredibly insane, that is. 1995. Well, here's hoping that they bring back the People Mover at Disneyland. Well, for now, at least we still have the version at Disney World. This ride takes you through, I guess, what originally was Stitch's Alien Adventure, or whatever it's called, Stitch's Great Escape, plus the Gift Shop, Space Mountain, and of course Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin. So it does take you through basically most of the buildings in Tomorrowland. Now, I don't ride much of the rides at Tomorrowland. In fact, this is the only ride on this list from Tomorrowland. Although I have done Carousel Progress, but I'm not including shows on this list. It's just strictly, rides. So, I love the People Mover. And it is such a fun ride, and there's never a line for People Mover as well, so that's always really nice. It's usually always a walk-on, basically, but it is an Omni-Mover ride, so, for the most part. So, well, yeah, it is an Omni-Mover ride, so it constantly loads people on, and I don't believe there's any lightning lane for the ride either. Any ride that doesn't have lightning lane is automatically a plus, and this ride in general is just so great, and it's easily one of my favorite rides of all time, and almost my favorite from Magic Kingdom, but not quite. Number 1, Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Yeah, this IP attraction replaced the iconic Splash Mountain, which I was upset about just because of the fact that I really loved Splash Mountain when I did ride it back in 2021. But at least they were still basically keeping the ride, they were just kind of reskinning it to a brand new ride. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure, is it better than Splash Mountain? I don't know, I've only ridden Splash Mountain one time. So, I loved Splash Mountain a lot, but I didn't necessarily grow up with it as much. Like, I know a lot of people were really upset when Tiana's Bayou Adventure replaced Splash Mountain, and yeah, it is a shame to lose that ride, but at least, if we were getting any IP to replace Splash Mountain, this would be the ride, or this would be the IP to replace it. And, in a way, it does kind of work. Maybe better at Disneyland, but it still works. And boy, this ride is wonderful. I rode it not once, but twice when we went down in 2025. So, I rode it once in the morning and then once, like, at night. And the line is usually pretty reasonable as well. It was like, what, a 15-minute wait when we were in line the second time? There's no playing games. They keep it moving, which is nice, and I love it when they do that. They know what they're doing. They keep the line moving. And yeah, it is kind of silly seeing all the lush greenery grow on the original Splash Mountain ride, but it doesn't bother me too much. Like I said, if this would have been a ride that I've rode it on a lot more back then it probably would have bugged me more, but because I haven't ridden on it too much, it doesn't bug me too much. Yeah, a few things kind of stick out like a sore thumb, like the random tiara on that water tower, and some of that ugly blue painting that's just trying to mix in with all the wood and stuff. Yeah, some of that doesn't mix, but overall, minus those few things, this is still a really great attraction, and Princess and the Frog is one of my favorite Disney movies, which has easily one of the best soundtracks out of any Disney movie as well, and luckily we get to hear a lot of the iconic songs play as well. From Down in New Orleans to Almost There, playing when you're in the outside version, to Going Down the Bayou, and if one of my absolute favorite Disney songs of all times, Dig a Little Deeper, playing in the inside version. Yeah, the story is kind of all over the place in a way, or there just isn't really much of a story, but who cares? There wasn't really much of a story to Splash Mountain either, I don't think at least. There kind of was. I mean, the story was more in-depth than Tiana's, but I don't really care. The story obviously is, I mean, it's not butchered enough that I just like it or anything. I still find it a really, really fun attraction due to just, the thrill of the ride itself. I love going down that 50-foot plunge at the very end of the ride. And the build-up is great, too. We start in the bayou, and we get to sing the Going Down the Bayou song, which is a really catchy and great song, which I couldn't help but dance around just because it was just it was so fun. Like, I couldn't help it. It's just such a great it's a good movie. This was a good ride, and put these two together, and I mean, I don't care about the controversies. This ride is fun. And then we get shrunken down to a little bug, and that's when they play the Dig a Little Deeper song, which hands down is the best song from Princess and the Frog, and one of my absolute favorite Disney songs of all time, too. So, going from my least favorite attraction, Small World, being one of the worst songs of all time, from this, it's just night and day, in my opinion. There's just a big difference in both attractions. Yes, that one's not IP themed, but I don't care. I would rather have a fun IP attraction than one that's been around forever and has basically no updates, tired looking, and has an annoying song. This ride is fun, and the Dig a Little Deeper part is just wonderful too. And then the build up to getting big again, and then the ending with the brand new song. I forget what it's called, but the song is catchy. I like, obviously, it was going to be hard to replace Zippity Doo-Dah from Splash Mountain, and they did try, I would say. It's not as catchy. I don't know, actually. It's about a tie, almost, I would say, between Zippity Doo-Dah and the brand new song that they added. Plus, you get to see all the different animals that you collected along the way, and even Prince Naveen, so hey, why not? Now, although I do really love People Mover, I just don't think there's anything like this ride. It's just so much fun. Between the soundtrack, the scenery, the animatronics, the fact that it's basically Splash Mountain, just reskin, the thrill of it is fun. It's a great Disney movie. It's so many things just packed together into this ride, which ends up being, in my opinion, my favorite ride from Magic Kingdom and my favorite ride from all of the Disney parks. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it was kind of fun talking about some of the Disney rides, even though I was just there and I don't necessarily want to think about Disney because I'm like, oh, it's going to be a while before we go back down again, but it's okay. It's fun looking back on some of the rides, and especially the ones that I haven't even ridden on this past year, and just kind of going through to see which ones are my favorites and least favorites. So, yeah, this is a video that I wasn't necessarily planning to do today, but I figured I'd do this opposed to the Total Drama plush. With that, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great day.